Yeah, let me break up this topics. Let me fix this topics. Let me fix this topics. See if that worked. Let me see if that's done and good. Yeah. Xbox is locked in. All right. Let me tweet this out. Oh, that thing is acting funny. I gotta make sure I watch that right there. You know, the best thing in the world is to hit your peoples up daily and just be like, yo, I love you. Man, it's crazy. Just got hit with that. And I appreciated that, you know. But let me share this out for everybody. Boop, boop, boop. Is it an update that needs to be had, bro? That's be the wildest thing. You don't even be knowing that YouTube need an update. What's good, peoples? Be the wildest thing in the world. What's going on, Chef? Hit that, share that out. I don't know why everything moving slow today. What's going on? The boy didn't have the Wi-Fi on in the house. How disrespectful is that? That's when the stuff gets real stinky. You're trying to move around on your phone and try to do different things. Be getting real stinky because they be wanting to throttle you. Pause. Yo, we got some stuff to talk about today. I know y'all dudes thought I was gonna run away from Microsoft closing up that store, right? And I'm gonna show you something, man, because I think I could show y'all here. My dog wants to go outside and hang out with grandma because run away from Microsoft closing. Let me mute that. Because Yo D, what's good? What's going on with that? All right. Now that I'm back to where I need to be. What is wrong with your ass, Coco? Stop acting stupid. She's doing the most today. Because grandma's here. So when grandma's here, these dogs be acting out of character, bro. Out of character. There we go. Share that on Twitter. I'm sorry you're seeing the top of my head right now. I apologize. Let's go. What's crazy is I wish, I talked to a couple of people, and I was like, yo, I need to be able to be streaming from one device at all times. See, she thinks she's gonna shame me right now by whimpering in the background like she needs to go to the bathroom, but she don't need to go. And she thinks she's gonna shame me right now. Good morning. What's up? What's good? Anybody trying to figure out what that is above me right there? That's me busting attic ass in Demon Slayer. And I know you're gonna get that me eating that glizzy. You know what Dip Down gonna text me today? Yo, Dip Down is the wildest dude in the world. Dip Down gonna text me and be like, yo, I'm ready for you to eat that glizzy. I'm like, yo, I'm ready for you to shut up. Weirdo. Stop being weird, Dip Down. Coco, you're not going out. You're just being annoying. And the last place is Blue Sky. So today is a weird day because today is whatchamacallit day. I like to take the family out on Saturday, especially Saturdays, because that's the day we know everybody is off, right? So I like to make sure that we go out and we do something. All right, there we go. Boom, everybody got it. So I don't need to look at this no more. I could charge this. Because I got to be charging my phone right now. Definitely. All right, got to charge my phone. Got to make sure every device is charged before we go. Because I want to take the grandpa, the grandbaby out. Baby ILP. Yo, baby lips. Yeah, baby lips. Yeah, what's going on, Nice in the Realm? All right, so you hear the stuff that's going on right now with everybody's going in on the Switch 2, right? And we're going to get into that too. I don't think PlayStation do. I don't know why PlayStation people are so insecure. It's the weirdest thing in the world for me because it's the weirdest flex of them worrying about these devices that's not their device. Like, as far as that's not a direct competitor. We all know that the Switch is not a competitor. This Switch is not a competitor to my PlayStation. It's not a competitor to my Series X. It's not a competitor to anything. George Parcells was good. Now, one of the main reasons why I'm live today is because I said I wasn't going to go live today, but one of the main reasons why I'm live today is because I had a dude that I think he was from Germany, and he asked me during the week, he was like, "Yo, King, what time do you go live?" I don't want to talk about Christopher Drain. I don't like to shame people, so I don't really want to get into the whole of that stuff. Oh, okay. One is all right. So it's two titles that I do want to talk about from Microsoft, and those two titles are going to let you know exactly where Microsoft is at the moment, right? Because a lot of people think that these titles are canceled, and apparently these titles aren't canceled, right? And why are everybody going crazy with Insomniac tweeting about Spider-Man, thinking that it's going to go to Xbox, which is one of my choices. Game Pass, we all locked in. Now, let's get the elephant out of the room, right? Let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's talk about this now. Let's make this a thing now. But you know what? Before we make that a thing, everybody is here, and a lot of times people don't ever get a chance to, to hear me absolutely live, right? So here, let's do this.
To hold the line, we gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from. I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted, this what you wanted, huh?
That's right. This is exactly what you wanted. You wanted the king to go live on Saturday to bring that heat to your feet, to make sure you stomp on the concrete and I burn the flesh off your back. Facts to that. Hashtag no PlayStation 6. You know what it is. We're going to run it up on these bums. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. And if you didn't understand what's going down, Xbox is locked in. Are you locked in? That's the biggest thing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take me some hydration. Shout out to Advanced GG. The best in the business, the best to ever do it. Advanced GG. Now, I like this white grape. I like my grapes a little bit white, right? I'm not going to tell you that I don't. But the powder is fantastic. And this is hydration. To keep me hydrated on this hot summer day. I just need a pinch of it because I got a small cup. That thing, one scoop can fit, you saw me. That was like a half a gallon. I did one scoop. It made it so flavorful. Drank it. Tastes fantastic. Keeps me hydrated. And when I work out, I hit that boost. You know what I'm doing? I'm fasting 4 times a week. It's the craziest thing in the world. But again, at the end of the day, especially in the summertime, you better make sure that you're eating your fruits. You got to make sure that you're drinking your liquids, your water. I mainly stick to water, lemon water. I take a pinch of sea salt, put that down in there, a pinch. All right. So the hydration can actually absorb into your muscles. And I take a body group per day. Pause. Like if I'm taking legs, if I'm taking arms, if I'm taking abs, if I'm taking back. I make sure, pause, y'all crazy with that right there, but I make sure that I'm working out in that capacity, that I'm not overexerting myself in any areas, because Rome wasn't built in a day, and the king didn't get this way in one day. So the king definitely got to make sure everything is good. Shout out to Fee Marie, my lady, with the £2 super chat. My liege, feeling my years. My liege, feeling my years. So missed a few. Sorry. Listen. You were missed every day. We check for you. Team Green bleeds for you, and we're there for you. So if you had a birthday come up, I salute your birthday. If you had life come up, I salute life. I appreciate you showing up every day. Each and every last one of you are appreciated here. All right. So I do want to tell you that. Now, hashtag no PlayStation 6. Those shirts is in the store, right? And some dudes be trying to come at me talking about it, don't understand the science behind it. The science behind it is basically rooted in you guys are so concerned with the later that you're not comfortable with the now. You guys are so focused on what you can't have or what's outside of your reach that you don't focus on what you do have and what's inside of your reach. You guys are worrying about a PlayStation 6, probably didn't even get a Pro yet, and would say something stupid like, and this is the dumbest thing that I've heard, oh, I'm going to skip the Pro because I don't do mid-gen refreshes. I just like to start fresh. But I want that PlayStation 6 for power. You have a device that's right there that can play your games better. That's right there. So it's just more of a talking point. You just want to just flap your gums, right? That's all that is, right? Because me personally, I told you when the PlayStation 5 came out, it was an unstable device. I told you that it was a juggling device. It did either power or it did compute. Mark Cerny told you that. What is needed, it'll do, right? So when they put out the Pro, immediately, I just ran and got that. Immediately. Now, and you guys like to use the suggested retail price, right? Suggested retail price, you like to say something like, hold on. Let me tell my son to let Coco out. Where you at, mama? She's out back there. Hold on. Let me tell my son to let Coco out. She probably got to go to the bathroom now. It's 12 and she just ate, so she probably got to go to the bathroom. Mark City Entertainment, what's good? Blessings.
Hello?
Yeah, do me a favor. Let Coco out. I think she got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
All right, thank you. I'm going to tell you something. If you're a man and you're blessed to raise your sons, and because I've had opportunity to raise other men's sons. I've had the opportunity to raise my son, and I had the missed opportunity not to raise my oldest son, right? And if you're fortunate to be in the circumference of raising a young man to grow into something that's going to be productive in society, that's going to be a measure of what your standards that you think should be, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Same thing for you to impart some wisdom on to your daughters. That's a blessing, because a lot of the youth right now is misguided. They don't have a good direction. But I just say that because I'm fortunate, right? And I want to give the blessings and thanks to the blessings that I do have. And some people may look at it as a small blessing. That's a huge blessing, right? To be able to be a factor in your children's life. That's a huge blessing. And I thank God every day. So you can give them some knowledge before they get out there in this crazy world, because this world is buck wild. But getting back to the thought process with hashtag no PlayStation 6, run it up on these bums first. That's the science behind running up on these bums. When you put on running up on these bums, when you going out there, you trying to run up that bag. No matter what you're trying to do. You at work, you're going to run. I'm doing the overtime. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm going to get that raise. I'm going to put myself in a different tax bracket. You're an entrepreneur. You want to make sure that you run it up. You want to make sure that you get your bag to the highest level. You want to take yourself to the highest level. And when you throw on that 98% right all the time, man, you want to make sure that you on your 120s. That your 360 is damn sure good. That you 98% right. Keep your mouth shut. That's that 2% wrong. When you wrong, admit it. Take accountability. But 90%, 98% right is standing in your truth. But these dudes are worrying about a PlayStation 6. And I'm not worrying about a PlayStation 6. I'm worrying about what's in my immediate circumference when it comes to my Xbox scenario, right? Really, I don't think this generation has lived up to what they're supposed to do anyway. I'm going to keep it a beam with you. Now, the only reason why, and this is why Xbox is locked in, the only reason why I understand what Xbox is doing is because I can understand why they would say they need a new box. I can understand that. Now, the PlayStation, if you're looking at the trajectory of the company is maximize that Pro. All right, I just gave you $900. All right, and don't tell me, because y'all be going by suggested retail price, $699, bro. Tax. I had to buy that pregnant disc drive that to go on the side of that joint. That was 100 and some change. So that turned my joint into 8 and some change, right? Then I had to buy the stand, and I had the shipping. And I think it was something else that went along with that turned that thing into, rounded up to the nearest 100 was $900. It was 8 and some change. So rounded up was like 900. I think I have free shipping. Thank God I think I have free shipping. But anyway, the trajectory of Sony and PlayStation is totally different from Microsoft. All right. If you already know that MPU is a huge factor in their device, MPU is a huge thing going into the next generation Xbox, right? And it's in such in a way that it's necessary for Windows 12. It's necessary for Windows 11. If you know where they're going with the Xbox/PC ecosystem, then you understand what's necessary for that next device. You understand with the server blades. Remember when I was telling you about the server blades, and I was telling you this for a minute, that Microsoft is updating their server blades, and dudes is like, it kind of went on deaf ears. I'm tired of you not liking the Messenger. Liking the Messenger. You get it? You're not respecting the Messenger. It's the same way when a certain prophet came and a certain amount of people didn't respect that prophet when that prophet came because that prophet didn't look like the prophet that they wanted him to look like. You understand? So when I'm telling you they're updating their servers, and I knew that they was updating their server blades, and dude just like, okay. But then somebody else explains it to you, and I got absolute love for that person. Now it's a thing. They've been updating these server blades. Their server blades is worldwide, but we're just going to worry about the U.S. for right now. So they're strategically placed around the U.S. to actually put a perimeter around the U.S. and then strategically place inside that it's like a crisscrossing type of effect when it goes to where all the service stations are in the US when it comes to the Azure Cloud servers. Them changing those servers you have to change the hardware, right? You have to change the hardware itself because everything is going to be way more advanced going forward. So that's where you guys was afraid with back compatibility. And this is the reason why they went right back in and started talking about back compat. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But in doing this, then you got to look at what you say you don't need, what you say is holding the company back, what you could say is not in your warehouse. When Microsoft opened up, remember when they had Quantum Break and they opened up that big movie studio and they were going to do movie tie-ins to video games and everything was going to be linked into it. And it started with the Xbox One and they did it right after the 360 and it was going into the Xbox One and you had Donnie talking all this TV stuff and everybody was so focused on the entertainment factor that Xbox can bring to the ecosystem because they thought that's where the entertainment was going to be. The entertainment was going to be locked in here. So let's get ahead of that. Let's buy this big studio. Wow. Quantum Break comes out. And remember, if you play Quantum Break and you downloaded the whole thing, that thing was a game. Quantum Break is highly underrated. When you went from the episode to the game, back to the episode, and you watched that whole thing was phenomenal. That is unsustainable, okay? But if that thing would have taken off and we would have went into the way of entertainment, Microsoft was poised for that. This is where we have this. Microsoft kills movies and TV storefront on Windows and Xbox. Here's what will happen to your purchase media. I got stuff that I've purchased in my media. Let me see if I can bring that up for a second so I can show y'all that I'm not playing around, that I actually buy stuff for my Xbox. And especially movies. I got a couple of movies that I really like a lot. Let me see if it's if I could pull them up here. Anybody saw that Mortal Kombat trailer? Game deals. I never accessed it through here. I always accessed it through my whatchamacallit. Let me see in the store. PC add-on, redeem, wish list, feature. I've always accessed it through, see my games right now installable. They're not even talking about that. They're talking about all my games. Let me see. Can go to owned. A bunch of games popped up. My Steam games popped up, which is strange to me to see that just happen like that, knowing what they're going to do later. So again, them closing this up in one day. One dude said, well, that's how they're going to do Game Pass. Be nice was good. And that's not how they're going to do Game Pass. Game Pass is the platform. This was never the platform. A lot of you guys want to think and act like this is the platform. They closed this thing up on your Surface, on the Windows storefront. This thing is going up. One guy told me it all in one breath. I have Kodi. With the level of piracy that's going on, you think Microsoft want to keep buying licenses and getting licenses for movies when the storefront isn't bringing in money? How many of y'all think this was a big money maker for them? Music, and first of all, music definitely. I'm at Amazon Prime, right? So with my Amazon Prime membership, I got my music, I got my joint locked in. I get all the new music that comes out, and I don't care. I pay my little $6 a month. My family get a chance to rock with it. It saves me. Listen, I listen to whatever I want, when I want, how I want, because I do have my ring and all that other stuff. So around the house, I play my music from little pods to pods all over the place. So it works for me. Now, I know you're going to say, well, you could do that by linking that to your Microsoft joint. Way more convenient. If I got one central area where I do something, fine. Now, the only thing that bothers me more is the movies. The movie aspect to it bothers me more because me personally, I had movies that I liked. I brought my Rick and Morty series. I got, like, I think the majority of my Rick and Morty series there. I got the Boondocks there. I got a lot of my superhero movies there, even though those movies now are available on HBO or Max or whatever it's called now. But again, I brought a lot of those movies when they came out there on my Microsoft platform. But am I the consumer that is going to keep it sustainable? No, actually, I'm a detriment to it because I only get the movies when there's a sale. I only get the movies when there's something that I truly need, but I never buy them as soon as they come out there because it's not necessary for me to do so. Right? So again, I'm a sunk cost. You're keeping a server open for me for nothing. So me personally, I can understand this. Did it come out of the blue? Do I like something like that? No, I actually don't. Listen, forewarned so I could be forearmed, right? Allow me the time to know when we're going to pivot. That's my biggest problem with this. That's a red flag, right? Because normally, and please, if I'm wrong here, let me know. Normally, a company lets you know ahead of time. When PlayStation told you that they were shutting down X amount of movies and stuff like that, but they were in negotiations trying to figure something out with Crunchyroll or whatever the hell it was. I forgot what it was, but they locked off a certain amount of countries from accessing movies that they purchased. And there was a big uproar about it, but it got fixed in a matter of days. But my thing is, they told you ahead of time, like after this day, this won't be available to you. When Stars is in negotiations with somebody because based off of that TV show they got over there, Power or BMF or whatever, and then negotiations with 50, they let you know we won't be carrying this or that. That's a negotiation tactic. There was no negotiation here. That was just dropped, right? And I know streaming is good for music. I'm not saying that it's not, but is Microsoft in the music business? See, when I say there's ways for Sony to make their service better, they have unique capabilities and unique talents that Microsoft doesn't have. Sony is a big movie industry. Outside of televisions and all that other stuff, and I can get into what they're not doing for the consumer, but somebody also texted and put out a tweet saying that these are businesses and not charities. And I totally respect that. All right. I honestly respect that. And I understand if enough people aren't using your streaming system for whatever, then that thing needs to go the way to the dinosaur. And I get it. And I understand it. And I do empathize with anybody that has used that as their primary source of music and movies. But Sony adding to their library when it comes to their games, taking their Sony owned brand and allowing you to watch their movies through the PlayStation Plus, or rolling in Crunchyroll Premium at a premium tier, or rolling in Sony Music because they do have a large catalog of artists and it can do Tiny Desk and stuff like that to bring people into their ecosystem to give value to a service. Right? So if I'm looking at service for service, I don't go to Game Pass for music. I don't go to Game Pass for TV. I don't go to Game Pass for anything other than games. So if the gaming portion of what I need from Xbox is servicing me in the manner that I asked of it, then I'm cool. Because just recently we got a ton of games. Like Tony Hawk just came out yesterday. For those people that did get a chance to get it early, dope, right? Really doesn't resonate with me. I forced myself years ago to purchase Tony Hawk to be part of, right? Because all of them, you saw Coggin, all of them, Sinister and everybody, they're playing Tony Hawk. I'm not playing Tony Hawk, but I'm like, yo, let me get into it. Me, really, I'm not a skateboard kid. That wasn't my thing. But then I see myself adapting certain ways and learning things. Like a game that I really liked a lot that's skateboarding is Ali Ali, right? So it's, you open your palette up to different stuff based off of what's available to you. Game Pass does that to me, right? Now, that Prison Break game with the cats, I don't care for that. Like, I don't care about escaping prison. I don't want to play no games about escaping prison. I'm sorry. A Way Out was dope. I ain't gonna hold you. A Way Out was dope. And shout out to Lord Attic for coming through, because Lord Sovereign left me there to play it. So shout out to Lord Attic for coming through and helping the kid out, finish that game. And we do got to play It Takes Two. It's Take Two, right? No, Split Fiction. We finished It Takes Two. We got to do Split Fiction. But something that popped up that I didn't think that was going to pop up, and it popped up, pause, and I know a lot of you guys say pay the devs, right? I know a lot of you guys say that. And a lot of times all you're doing is paying the publisher, and the devs already got paid and the workers already got paid. But if they were per diem workers or they were contract workers or whatever, and they were there to do a job and those workers are no longer there or whatever the hell, a lot of times y'all confuse purchasing and those numbers. And I think it's not your fault. I got to say, it's not your fault, because you were led astray by a lot of people to make you believe that just because a game sold X amount of millions, that game itself, and speaking of that, hold on one second. I got to grab that, because that was a title that I did want to talk about, because I have this sinking suspicion that we're in a quagmire when it comes to games being sold, and I don't believe that 80 million PlayStation number. I don't believe it no more. I believe that's an actual farce. I think it's a lie. I think it's something fabricated against something that's not real. I think it's something that is a joke. I'm going to jump into this title before I would jump into the next title that I was going to jump into. I'm going to jump into this because I think this means more to exactly what I'm talking about based off of what has been talked about here, because I'm disappointed. Now, let me give you the caveat. The caveat is this: 80 million consoles out in the wild. Now, we're all going to know that there's not 80 million sold, it's 80 million shipped. How many of those are in actual consumers' hands? How many of those is actually turned on? Now, I do remember Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius, first is his name, told us that 25 million of those PlayStations wasn't even turned on. And that was when I guess they were at 50 million or 70 million. So my question is this. This kind of leads into this. This leads into Death Stranding 2 is reportedly to have sold 1.3 million copies in June. The game has also been reported to have stronger digital sales when compared to physical copies. So now, there's two lies that's going on here. One, that the PlayStation guys buy games. 2, that they love their physical. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, the sequel to Kojima's mind-bending adventure, launched on June 26 and has already racked up over 1 million copies sold in just a few days. Norman Reedus returns as Sam Porter Bridges, with a story picking up right where the first game left off. Now, this is IGN. Now, had this been a site that is more favorable to Xbox, they would have said for the month of June, the only thing that was sold for them was 1.3 million. Now, 1.3 million since it launched on June 26th to the end of the month, pretty good, right? Pretty good. But also, you have data out there, and a lot of people are running with the data talking about it's not selling. Now, you know, our bad actor, Christopher Drain, is there saying Death Stranding 2 was number 1 in the UK physical charts last week, and its sales was 66% lower than Death Stranding 1 on the physical. And I try to explain to people that holding on to the physical aspect of what's going on around us is kind of futile. And where digital itself is where the companies want us, where they have a better control of the product, they have a better control of the numbers, and the market is crazy more digital today than it was even a year ago when Astrobot launched. I want to know if you guys purchased this thing physical or digital. And the fact that they have over 80 million consoles out there shipped. I don't know what's sold through. I don't know what's the actual numbers on these things because they hide it and shroud it in mystery. But the numbers seem to be indicating that there's a large majority that is either being uncounted or something is wrong with the math. If I ever have 80 million of something and I'm selling to 80 million of those constituents and I only bring back 1.3 million, something's wrong. Either my messaging is wrong or the numbers is fudged somewhere in between. Video games seem to be unsustainable, but Nintendo doesn't seem to have that issue. Nintendo seems to be selling at the rate of each console and at any flagship game, they seem to be selling close to a 1-to-1. Now, when it comes to these big two, which is Xbox and PlayStation, I think, and this is going to bring us back to the movies and the music, I think the more that your box does, the less time that you do gaming. Now, I want to know how many of you people here actually use their Xbox for YouTube, for Netflix, for HBO, Showtime, boxing events, sporting events, other than gaming. See, because my Switch 2, anytime this thing comes out, all it is for gaming. It has nothing to do, nothing else. It has no other function. I'm not watching Netflix. I'm not watching YouTube. I'm not doing anything other than playing video games on it. And I think the more that the box is able to do, the less gaming you're going to do. And that's going to take away from sales. All right. Now, I do know free to play is a huge factor when it comes to having 80 million consoles out there. And let's say out of that 80 million, at least 40 million of them is playing Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, right? And is using that monetization of skins, sneakers, whatever the hell that they do buy there, because I can tell you wholeheartedly, playing Marvel Rivals, I jump in and I buy. We just played yesterday. Shout out to the team that came out for Fight Night Fridays. And we were playing yesterday. Now, a lot of people got there and they had some added stuff to the Battle Pass. And when you purchased it, it was added stuff, right? So, okay, so you went in there, you purchased it. The reason why you're going to purchase it, first, one, the fear of missing out. Second, you want your drip to look dope, right? You really don't want to be hanging out with your friends, because I was shaming Dip Down yesterday. I'm not going to hold you. I was shaming the hell out of him because he was out there with basic Betty clothes. And we're like, yo, G, if you're going to hang out with us, if we're going to go running down on these dudes in these lobbies, you can't be running out here with the slacks and the t-shirt beat that you start off with the game. The game is free, right? So we was kind of shaming him. Where everybody's buying bikinis and all that stuff. How you gonna have a turtleneck in the summertime? It's disgusting. It's a disgusting look for your character. But it's these things that force us to spend money on games that we feel that we get for free, that are of a premium value, and we are looking at it as like, okay, this is where my money is going. Is that taking away from a Death Stranding 2? I can tell you wholeheartedly, if I want to get that dopamine hit, and I don't want to sit there and I don't want to go through a board and have to, finish a map, or I got to get from here to here or do a task and all this other stuff. Quick Resume allowed that to be better for me. Wherever I leave my game, I come back to my game and it's there, right? Quick Resume took away a lot of that, oh man, I got to start it up stuff. Quick Resume helped that. PlayStation doesn't have that equivalent. What I do is my game is probably suspended by even I just left it there, right? And then I come back, but then if I have an update, it kind of bumps me out. Then I got to go right back in. So it's a different thing. A lot of people, if you don't have Quick Resume and you're playing on a PlayStation, you probably don't understand what I'm talking about here. And you wouldn't understand it until you actually see it. And it's wizardry, right? Again, I was explaining how it happens, but me, I'm not an engineer, so a software engineer. So you telling me, I'm just like, whatever, B. I know exactly what you're saying. I can physically understand it mentally. I can get it. But me understanding it in practice is wizardry, to be honest with you. And to find out that somebody came up with that, and had they not been heard in Microsoft, we wouldn't have had that feature. That's the dope part about being in a team and everybody having a voice. But sales of games that I feel that should sell more aren't. And I think that's based off of the fact that these consoles that we do have are multi-purpose consoles. So I think these companies don't look at it in the way that we look at it. They're selling our data. All right. So if do you know how much that your data is valuable to HBO? If you're accessing their app and you're using it through your PlayStation can tell them, well, this movie that you put here, 90% of our people that use your app watch this movie. And 90% of these people liked it, or 50% liked it, and 40% didn't like it, right? And based off of that, they can get a curated viewing menu for yourself. That's why when you jump in and they say these are movies that you will like, and you're trying to figure out how they did that, well, the data being sold from Sony to these app holders that they're actually using is hugely valuable. But at what cost? At the cost of games being sold? And what games are deemed to break through, right? So you would think a game that will be in the category of Game of the Year, which is like Death Stranding 2, would have sold X amount. And listen, it's only 5 days to the end of the month for them, and I'm not going to hold them to some weird thing like they're the outlier. Me personally, I think it should definitely equal or exceed what whatchamacallit did, Horizon. But Horizon came out on the 26th too, and for that month, they sold 3 million. For the month of, what was that? May, right? So they did have the same amount of days, and Horizon sold 3 million, whereas Death Stranding sold 1.3. And I would think Death Stranding is way more, how would I say, visually pleasing to the PlayStation groomed crowd. Like, PlayStation people are more geared to play a Death Stranding than they are to a Horizon, right? Does that linger into a bigger problem? Did that game sell to a lot of the Xbox refugees that's over there on PlayStation that decided they were going to leave the Xbox alone, and then they see Horizon pop up and they're like, oh snap, let me go buy this Horizon 5 based off of, I used to like Xbox and I love Forza, so maybe that's where the extra 1.5 million comes from? I don't know. But it's concerning going forward that these blockbuster games, and how soon do you think you're going to see Death Stranding 2 on PC and Death Stranding 2 on Xbox, being that Kojima holds the IP, right? Because 505 can definitely publish the game. And I know they're not going to have any problem with publishing the game on a PC. And the fact that the Xbox PC hybrid is already in play, they make one version and that version is on the Xbox. So does the Xbox version of Death Stranding 2 come to the Xbox and the PC at the same time? Are we looking at a time now when whatever game that the PlayStation launches on the PC automatically launches on the Xbox day and date? Because they will be one and the same. So is PlayStation at a point where no matter what they do, they're not as locked in as Xbox, and they're pretty much boxed in? While Xbox is locked in, is PlayStation boxed in? That's the bigger question. Now, FromSoftware selling an astronomical amount of Elden Rings. The DLC, and anybody could tell me if the DLC sold equal to or a slightly under the original game. But FromSoftware is reportedly working on an unannounced title that could be released next year. The Elden Ring studio is working on at least one more title alongside the Dustbloods, it's claimed. Now, what makes this title more significant than anything else, we know that the Dustbloods is exclusive to the Switch too. I guess for the time being. And at some point in time, it'll be available to everything else. But this next title is supposedly multiplat. Now, they're assuming that it's Dark Souls 3. That'd be cool. Now, I'm not a Souls-like gamer, right? I'm going to tell you that. So Wu Chang Falling Feathers, that's getting ready to drop on Xbox Game Pass, which is being highly touted as one of the games that is changing the genre, is going to be a chore for me to play. If anybody got a chance to see Iron Lord's podcast, myself, Addict, Lord Cognito, actually playing Wu Chang when we were out at Summer Games Fest, you saw I struggled mightily with that boss, that whatever boss Addict was at, and I got a chance to get there. Well, I didn't have a chance to like study the controller or whatever. I just jumped in and was just trying to play the boss and got my ass handed to me, to pause, to be honest with you. But Addict, Lord Addict, and Blaze 4K, and I don't know who else, they did a review. Now, we did get review copies, so I got to tell you that. And those, I graciously let somebody else have my copy because they are a true Souls player. And, I really respect them in the community, and I really respect what they are as a person. And I thought that they would benefit from it the most. I'm going to be getting the game regardless inside Game Pass. And I felt giving that opportunity to somebody that has been greatly supportive to us as Iron Lords means a whole lot more to me than me playing something ahead of somebody, right? I think that they would have gotten more out of it. And I heard that they did. And I heard that part of the interview was so substantial based off of their interaction with the game. That's what's necessary. That's what's necessary in this space. If you have something that you know that you're not really great at and somebody else is, well, game share with that person so they can give you a better review and they can get that out there, boost your peoples up. That's what you're supposed to do. But this game has a code name called FMC. It's at advanced stages of production alongside the upcoming, Switch 2 title Dust Bloods. Now, according to the publication, the unannounced game is likely to release no later than next year. It's also conducted analysis into the unannounced code name of the title, and it says its abbreviation, which notes that previous code names starting with the letter F have been related to Dark Souls or Armored Core games. It leads us to speculate that unannounced title could be a Fires of the Rubicon expansion or the long-expected Dark Souls 3 remaster. I didn't pick up Armored Core. I'm not really enthused too much about Armored Core, but I'm a little bit more enthused when it comes to a Dark Souls game, right? If y'all saw when I put on my PlayStation 5 Pro, I did Dark Souls. Was it Demon Souls? Whichever the one they launched with, and I wanted to show the difference between that. So again, see that there's where my forgery come in. I just played the first area. I'm not even gonna, I even got what is that blood game? Bloodborne. I even got Bloodborne. I'm not even gonna hold you, B. I did 2 mistakes in my life in video games. No, I did a whole lot more mistakes, but two mistakes that I really knew I wasn't about that life. It was Bloodborne, and it was Sekiro. Don't ever let pride be your indicator to buying games and thinking your ass is dice. I saw kids smooth playing. I'm not a parrying dude. Yo, I brought it. It was Game of the Year that year. I remember, and Microsoft had to market it, and I'm calling myself. I brought it. It was on sale. It was something. I brought the Game of the Year edition. I never forget it. I'll never forget it. I got it. I said, the game looks dope. I had my Xbox. I think it was my Xbox One X. Crawled out, got there in front of the dude like it was the first NPC. He whipped my ass. B. Let's get this game out of here. I'm not even gonna say I'm not struggling with this. I'm not fighting with it. Get this game out of here. Get this game out of here. When Joe Schmo, the icy man in the block, could beat you up. Nah, I'm not about that, son. No. I'm not. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I am. When I get a chance to see Attic and them dudes play it, I'm like, y'all on a whole different level. Give me a platformer. Give me a fighting game. Give me something else, but keep me the hell away from that. That's not it for me. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's where my skills lie at. My skills do not lie in that shit. And that's not it. I mean, a lot of dudes will sit here and tell you, oh, yeah, I'm nice with that. I'm not. I'm not even going to do that. I'm not even going to sit here and hold you. Now, I'm going to open up the chat because I'm going to jump into the chat right now. Right, so I'm gonna open up the chat and anybody want to jump into Discord because today is not going to be a long day. All right, today is going to be a shorter day. So it's not going to be a long day because I told you family stuff has to happen. All right. So the link is in the description. Jump in if you want to talk. We're definitely going to talk about a couple of titles that I felt and I've heard that are still on track and it's still good. So we're going to talk about job listings show the Contraband is still in development. Now, this is something that I absolutely did not believe. I thought Contraband was canceled. You know, a lot of people were saying that, it was canceled. Contraband appears to be moving along in development. When Xbox held its latest round of layoffs in early July, many fans wondered what the state of Avalanche Studios' Contraband was. The game wasn't shown during the latest Xbox game showcase in June, which led to questions. When the aforementioned layoffs happened and the game 2021 reveal trailer was delisted on Xbox YouTube channel, the worry increased. Now, just a couple of weeks later, a recent job listing suggests that there are many things are moving right along with the upcoming AAA title co-op open world action game. As a week ago, Avalanche Studios is looking for a product lead in the game. Specifically, they want a lead for its live service aspects, confirming it to be a live service game. Now, remember when I told you Microsoft is looking for those 3 pillars in which your game is actually able to make money from initial drop to continued residuals to being able to be placed on any other device. It got to be doing the 369, B. And if it's not doing that, if it's not able to make money in 3 different areas at 3 different times, then that thing is definitely going to be DOA. So being that thing does reach all those criterias, that thing is a go. Another game that I heard is still good is Blade. Me personally, I was wondering. I was a little bit fearful. I said, Blade, is it going to be something that we're going to love? Is it going to be something that going to make it out? Or is it something that's going to be canceled? I thought for sure that Blade would be canceled. And the fact that Blade isn't canceled allows me to know that Contraband is still good, Blade is still good, and those games are under the budget schedule. From what I hear, Blade is under $100 million, and that bodes well. Now, I know people's going to say, well, then it's not a large title. I don't know how much the license costs. I don't know in terms of what Microsoft is looking for from Blade. And I think we will know when we see this Marvel Rivals drop what they expect from Blade. Right? What is Blade to be? Because Marvel Rivals, if y'all don't know, Blade is going to be one of the next characters that's going to be released. How that character plays pretty much is going to let me know what is the mind frame or move sets that's a possibility in the game. Now, I know you're going to say Midnight Suns is a greater indication, King. Midnight Suns is a card game, and I think in certain ways, and the Blade game, from all intents and purposes, from what I understand, is going to be completely different from that card game, and it's going to be more of an action game, more of an open world, or more of a hub world type of thing, whereas you go from mission to mission, opposed to probably like a Spider-Man open city thing. So probably more like a God of War type of thing, where it gives you semi-open world vibes, but you go from hub to hub and you clear out a section and you go to the next section. Pretty much, I think, like how Wolverine would be. I don't think Wolverine would be open world like Spider-Man. It doesn't move that way for the character for me. And I think that's what the problem that Insomniac is having when it comes to that aspect of it. But again, me personally, I hope Blade makes it out the door with no problems, but being under 100 million, what are we looking at from the title? All right. What are we looking at? Now, a lot of people y'all saw Avowed, right? And me personally, I thought that this thing looked incredible. Hold on a second here. Right. I thought this thing looked phenomenal. Let me show you this. Some of the new axes and the arrows. That's crazy. And I got to get back. What up, B-Leaf? I got to get back to playing this. So much stuff, man. And I know people are saying why the animals are just standing there. Because they're showing you the game. Kind of looked dope. I thought it looked dope. I thought it looked fantastic. It was something that I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you finish Avowed, let me know. I didn't get a chance to finish it, obviously. I'm super workaholic and work. This is all that's been going on. So again, let me know if y'all got a chance to play it. Let me know if that's something that y'all doing. All right, so the last thing that I want to talk about is the reason why I have high hopes for this company. Being that Assassin's Creed has been greenlit for a TV show, I'm thinking that they're going to make money through more spin-offs of their IPs, and they do have fantastic IPs. But nepotism has no place in the business structure. And working with family is often the path to ruin. The reason why I'm bringing this to the table is because I think Ubisoft and the Guillemot family is currently destroying Ubisoft from the core. Ubisoft's new spin-off division is being led by Yves Guillemot's son, and he believes that Generation AI will revolutionize gaming. Now, he thinks by coming out and saying, yo, let's get the elephant out of the room. You know, I'm his son. I've been in this business for how long? He said he's been in this business for 20 years. Let me get to his statement because I used a different article the other day. Right. But all right. So Charlie Guillemot got his start in gaming in 2014, and Ubisoft later acquired the horse simulation game developer, and it was Owlet. Right. He left Ubisoft in 2021 before rejoining the company earlier this year, heading up his own promotion. He left and came back to co-CEO for Dereniness. As for I please don't even come at me. Y'all don't go at Attic. I don't want to hear it. He's a co-founder of the Ubisoft Montreal in 1997 and was recently more managing director for Ubisoft North America operations. Asked by Variety about the concerns over nepotism, Charlie Guillemot said it's completely understandable why some would take issue with his promotion. Yes, he's his son. He's his son, and that's not something I hired. But my appointment is not about family ties. It's about what Ubisoft needs at this moment. Ubisoft doesn't need you at this moment. Actually, Ubisoft doesn't need their self at this moment. Me, honestly, I think Ubisoft really needed to be purchased by somebody else wholeheartedly. But one of the things that they had in purchasing had everything to do with them still having say so in day-to-day operations. Imagine you selling your car to somebody and your sales pitch is, I'm selling it to you at a great price, but I still want to be controlling how many miles you drive per day, when you go to get your oils changed, what tires you use, and I kind of like a certain type of windshield wipers. Then it's not that person's car, right? Well, this was the stipulations, and this is the reason why Tencent stepped in. And Tencent stepped in reluctantly, even though Tencent has been with Ubisoft and the Guillemot family for a very long time now. Charlie said he would change things like the vision, direction, and content development and marketing of Ubisoft's main franchises going forward, while Daenerys will oversee production and co-development and technology. Now, looking ahead, Charlie said he's expect generative AI and cloud technologies to revolutionize game development and player experiences. Sometimes that means a shorter content. Speaking to new generations that consume content in a different way, I'm convinced that the industry will face a new tech disruption will be fully predicted for yet. And they can't fully predict yet. and Ubisoft intends to play an active role in shaping that future. His comment about generative AI is likely to cause a stir, giving ongoing serious concerns expressed. Now listen, with Netflix coming out and admitting that they just released or in production to a movie or a TV show that uses AI scenes, and what they're saying is to further enhance, not to cut costs. Ultimately, you're cutting costs when you're cutting man hours. Ultimately, you're cutting costs when you're cutting the human factor out. Ultimately, you're cutting costs when you're removing the actual element that actually makes them games human. The part that you pay for, labor. The transference of time for monetary gain has been essential for a long period of time since we established money. The moment the barter system turned into a thing where you got apples and I will pick those apples off those trees for a percentage of said apples, and you said good because you was able to get more done with the labor that was provided for you, and then you pay for said labor in whatever way you pay for that labor. This is cutting out that whole labor barter system. This is cutting that out. Time for money. Whereas you don't have to pay the AI for their time. So you in turn keep the money. So that whole aspect of what he was saying was disingenuous from the rip. And we're seeing it time and time again. These CEOs come out, be a little bit more bold, a little more brass, a little bit more what you're saying. They're hitting you with the fear because we can't predict where the industry is going to go. If you're pushing the industry where it's going, I can predict where it's heading. You're saying smaller experiences. So you haven't perfected those big open world games yet because the AI starts to hallucinate at a point in time where you have to rein it back in. But if you can condense it enough into a smaller package that you can actually sell, like DLC, like small gamers, right? Let's say a game the size of, you say 6 to 8 hours, right? When is a game like Senua's Saga 2? When is a game like that? Hellblade 2. When is a game like that? Fidelity wise, time wise. When is a game like that acceptable made completely by generative AI? When are we okay with this? Because I know a lot of times I get people telling me stuff like, "Oh, King, as long as we get the chance to have the games, I don't care." I actually do care. I actually do care when it takes away the livelihood of individuals that went to school. There's somebody in school right now that has done 4 years or had 4 years left, and he or she was going for their master's to get out to come to a job environment that is one, looking for experience. How can you gain experience if there's no place for you to work at? 2, looking for a person that understands what the language is. How is that language necessary when you have people like Satya Nadella telling you that we got people that can pick up a game and make a game or make a program without having knowledge of programming language? When what you've just spent thousands and thousands of dollars on is obsolete in a day. What does that mean for us? And don't tell me that means that we're going to get better games, because I don't believe we get better games from this. I believe that we get programmed agendas. I believe that we do get experiences that is curated to whatever the vision is of the overall company. I do believe that takes away from the creativity of it, because humans, we love to create. If we're made in God's image and God is a creator, then we are creators in too. But as creators, we build with our hands and we break with our feet. I've noticed this time and time again. And I just got to say, I don't appreciate this level of fake transparency when it comes to telling you ahead of time that this company that we're starting up here is going to be based wholly on making sure that AI is one of the central pillars in this company going forward. And then you want us to patron those wares. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say it doesn't matter as long as I get a good game. It absolutely matters to me. It absolutely matters to me. And I know you're going to say paying the dev. Well, you're paying the publisher, but the publisher pays the dev. And in paying the dev, the publisher, from the money that we pay the publisher, what happens now? When the most creative people that you see is no longer being able to create, what happens to what we love? I just finished playing Donkey Kong's Bonanza. And last year I got a chance to play Astrobot. And from the highest mountain, I'm yelling, 3D platformers are back. When I'm championing Astrobot, and I'm telling you, it's crazy dope. When I'm playing, what is that? Ukulele. When I'm looking at Spiral and I'm playing that, and I'm playing inside Game Pass, I'm playing Crash Bandicoot 4, and then Donkey Kong. When I'm saying that platformers is back, 3D platformers is back, and I'm having fun, and I'm looking at the creativity, and I'm marveling at the worlds that comes out of the minds of these supremely creative people. And when I go to have an interview, and this is where this comes back to me, this is where this directly affects me. Who the hell am I going to interview when I go to sit down and talk to the developer that made the game and AI made it? Am I going to have the conversation with the publisher to see what was your idea when it came to this? Oh, we just told AI to go do it. And AI went and just made it. I don't really appreciate being bamboozled in this manner. I don't really be... Do me a favor, close that door. It's Coco that's opening it. I truly do not appreciate this. And you see, the wildest thing about it is, what Ubisoft doesn't realize is, we do have a relationship with Ubisoft. And I'm never going to say that Ubisoft, except for one game. I told you how I felt what they did with, what was that stupid game? Something Sans, Prince of Persia. It was the Prince of Persia game. And I gave a scathing review of the treatment of how they felt journalists was. And, but other than that, Ubisoft has treated Iron Lords well, myself well, and I use their service. I buy their service. And usually when we do get a review copy, I do purchase another copy. And not for anything other than, especially if I like the game. And it's not supporting the developers, because you're really supporting the publisher. What I'm doing is supporting the franchise in a sense that the publisher knows that it's a viable franchise. I don't think, honestly, I don't think they really know by saving $1, they're going to lose more than what they think they're going to save. Their stocks dropped to, I think it was under $5 at one point. And the company had to close off sales and stuff like that of shares. And they went dark, and that's when they did something strange for some change for 10 cents. I want you to think about this. 10 cent opens up the new subsidiary. What is Tencent's ideologies? What is Tencent's philosophies? What is Tencent's philosophy when it comes to rights? What is Tencent's philosophies when it comes to voice? What is Tencent's philosophies when it comes to people of color? What is Tencent's philosophy when it comes to Europeans? What is Tencent's philosophies when it comes to Eastern Asians? Like, what is Tencent's philosophies? Because if it's AI creating the game, then it's the publisher telling the AI what they want it to do. And if the publisher has an ideology that doesn't fall in line with something that is creative, inclusive, and as far as understanding the human nature of things, and the publisher gets a chance to make what they want to make, I want you to think, how many times has the publisher been right in doing anything when the developer always had to fight the publisher back? When is this thing going to just blow up in their face? See, because they're playing a dirty game with the stuff that we love. Would you let somebody hold your baby carelessly? Video games is our baby. I didn't say I'm going to work here today to do this based off of nothing but absolutely love for the industry. I get into this to play video games, to get closer to understanding how they're made and the people that does this stuff and all this other stuff, right? And to meet other like-minded individuals that shares the same passion, because you don't understand the energy that is exerted from individuals that share your same passion. You're talking to somebody that loves Pokemon. Have you ever seen a group of people that actually love Pokemon? What it is? You've seen our energy in full display with Pokemon Go when you saw hordes of hundreds of people in the street chasing down Pokemon. And they did it orderly. They did it fun. They were part of something together. That was creativity at its finest. And that's what I want to be a part of. When you start to remove the creative out of the situation, out of the baby, you start to remove the soul. You're going to rip the soul out of what we love. And then we're left with mindless games. Games that actually serve no purpose. Black hole games that is just made to just siphon off your energy and have you there stuck. Dumping wads of cash that you worked hard for. Where are those individuals that went to school for this? Where's their payoff? I don't like the fact that people get a chance to build an AI infrastructure and then get removed from it. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the only one talking about it, because I get a chance to look at everybody's channel and I get a chance to hear people say stupid stuff like, well, PlayStation outsold Xbox. Or, yeah, that's cool, in some aspects of it. But you got to balance out your journalism. You got to balance out your work. You got to actually start talking about stuff that is actually going to change something. Because if we all start talking about it, then they all know that we're watching and we're listening and we can all point to it. We can all say this, but they could easily just shut my stupid ass up and push me to the side. Right? Listen, sometimes it's not all about the clicks and the views. Sometimes it's all about, are you going to be a voice with the platform that you have in order to change something that you love from going away? Maybe you guys didn't live the crash before. I did. I brought E.T. I understand what the crash looks like. I understand exactly what a crash is and what happens. Do I ever want to see anything like that again? Not one day. Not one day. But this is Xbox Frontline News. If you liked anything that you see here, weekly on Saturdays, I go live. And the Discord is open for anybody that wants to jump inside the Discord so we can have an open conversation about any of the topics that we're talking about. Or maybe that you saw something today or this week that you wanted to talk about that I didn't get a chance to bring light to. And I'm your boy, the King. I drop videos daily, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, Pacquiao is fighting Mario Barrios. We have a 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao fighting Mario Barrios for the championship at welterweight. This is wild crazy. I would have never expected Pacquiao to come back. Is it welterweight? 154, I think. Super welterweight. I would have never expected Pacquiao to be fighting right now. But I get a chance to watch that fight tonight. And got a couple of other fights. You got Pitbull Cruz trying to get his revenge back for the loss that he got. So if anybody thinks that Fight Night Fridays has anything to do with boxing or MMA, it doesn't. Has everything to do with video games. So shout out to everybody that came out on Frontline Gaming Streams. This is my sister channel. That channel is where we play video games. You get a chance to see me play Donkey Kong Bonanza. You get a chance to see me play Death Stranding and many other titles that I'm going to get a chance to play over there so you guys can watch and have a good time. You can join in. We have fun doing that over there. But this is Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, if anything I did was sparked anything, we'll go to somebody else's channel and tell them, how come you're not talking about this? What views are you trying to say? What sponsors are you trying to keep close? Because sometimes one of my sponsors is sponsored by Tencent. And I tell them, I don't agree with some of your thought processes. Is that going to be a problem? Because if that's going to be a problem, then I'm going to have to say no to that sponsor read, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, the people that pays the bills is you guys. So you think I'm going to take a quick $500, or would I rather take the 500 views? Because that means I reach more people. I'm just saying. I'm Lord King David, and sometimes you got to have a backbone in this game, right? Pause. I'm going to do like I always do. And I'm going to do it a little bit later on tonight. But I'm going to tell y'all, you got to go where players